Oh, yeah, we are almost there. Lions, Chiefs kicking off week 1. Here's the slate of all the games, finishing up with the Bills and Jets. Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers' debut with New York. Let's get some picks from some of the top games, and we've got our top analysts, Brady Quinn and Pete Prisco, here for another year of picks. Who won last season?
Brady did.
Yeah. Brady won last season. All right, Pete, better get off the schneid. This is an interesting line here.
I won the year before. Okay?
Chiefs -5.
Allegedly.
Travis Kelce, doubtful at this point, and the line has moved a little bit since that news. It was around 6.5, now down to 5, and that thing is dropping for Thursday Night Football.
Look, I'm still on the Chiefs here. It's concerning that Travis Kelce might not be able to go. He doesn't miss many games, Pete. And so this might be one where he suits up, tries to give it a go. I don't know how effective he'll be. This is where I think the game is won and lost for Kansas City, and if they cover. It's the scheme of Kansas City's offense going against Aaron Glenn and the Detroit Lions defense. I need to see improvement compared to what we saw last year in order to believe that this group is going to be able to contain the passing attack of Patrick Mahomes and everyone else, even without Kelce playing a big role, if any role whatsoever. So for that reason, I look at this match, I'm thinking I still need to see some from Detroit defensively.
I'm with you. And Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't matter who they're throwing to. Yeah, you'd love to have Kelce on the field. They're still going to find ways to move the football. They'll get creative. They'll run the ball. Look, the interior of their offensive line is the best in football, and they had to pay the big money for the right tackle. They had a veteran at left tackle. I think the line will be just as good as it's been, and we saw how good it was in the postseason against the Eagles. So I think they'll move the football. On the other side, I also think the Lions will move the football as well, because I think Chris Jones not being there, he's the game wrecker on the defense. They don't have a game wrecker. So I do like the Chiefs because I think they'll figure it out offensively, but I also think it's going over. I took a page out of your book, Brady. I took it over.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah, I like
Pete Prisco to the party with a little over-under betting there, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and throw in mine then. I think it's going to hit the under. Well, this line's with the highest, I believe, of the week one
highest
so
of
far.
week 1, yeah.
And look, there's always those growing pains. I think anytime you start off a season, trying to find a rhythm, finding your chemistry sometimes, maybe even without Kelce. And let's not forget, this injury came down on a Tuesday, which means you really don't have much practice before a Thursday night game like that. Maybe some walkthroughs, some adjustments.
Because he doesn't know what he's doing with Mahomes, so it's important for him to
It's not
practice.
so much about that. It's about if Kelce's not playing a role, which he's been in a significant role his entire time there, is how do you go about adjusting some of the concepts, situations, third down, red zone, without him potentially being that main target? Because they like to get him the ball in the red zone.
Does he play with a hyperextended knee, in your mind?
I think he can. Yeah. I mean, look, I've had a hyperextended elbow. It's painful. As long as there's no structural damage, you can manage it. It just comes down to how he feels. And then also, like the risk of, all right, do we want to put him in now? He's got extra rest after this. Let's just get him healthy to week 2.
Makes sense.
That might be the way that the Chiefs end up kind of playing this out.
Hasn't missed a game due to injury since his rookie season 10 years ago. So the guys both like the Chiefs -5, but differing on the over and the under. Great game on CBS, late window Sunday, 4:25 Eastern. Tua and the Dolphins, Herbert and the Chargers. LA giving 3 at home.
I'm going to give myself a penalty flag right here because I sent the wrong pick in.
Oh,
I actually did my picks. They're online. You can look it up, and I have Miami covering. I have the Chargers winning, but it's going to be that close. So I give myself the flag. You can give me personal foul if you want to, whatever you want.
Second pick of the year.
Throw me out of the game if you want to. I sent the wrong one in.
I'll let it slide. Okay. All right, it's week 1.
I'm not changing the pick.
You look great. You look great, but I'm saying you're getting up there in age. So physically you look great. Mentally,
you sent the wrong one in. You sent the wrong one in at least 5 different times over the course of the season last year. Yes, you did.
So you're right. If I sent the wrong one in, I went with it, and sometimes that worked out better for me.
Yeah, it did. But you did send it in. But I'm changing mine. Miami's going to keep it. I think it's going to be a really close game. A lot of points scored here because I think Kellen Moore will allow Herbert to throw the ball down the field, which he didn't do last year. And I think Mike McDaniel struggled last year against the Chargers. I think he'll figure out some things against them. Remember, they took away those quick passing lanes. He didn't like it. He didn't adjust to it. I'll take the close game. I'll take Miami in the points.
East Coast team playing on the West Coast, and you talked about some of the difficulty of the quick games, the screens, the quick passes to the outside. The Chargers are going to have a good game plan for that. I'm big on the Chargers this year. I think Justin Herbert's going to put up a lot of numbers. He's a good fit for Kellen Moore's system compared to what Joe Lombardi was doing last year. My concern and where this game is won and lost to me is the offensive line for the Dolphins taking on the pass rush of the Chargers. I don't think the Dolphins are going to be able to hold up. I think you can only do so much to scheme around that. And that's where I like the Chargers here laying the 3 points. I think they've got a better chance of dominating the line of scrimmage, in particular when those two phases are out on the field.
All right, let's go to Sunday Night Football as those guys disagree on the Chargers and the Dolphins. It's Cowboys at Giants. My eyebrows raised when I saw this line. I thought the Cowboys might have to lay a point or two, but -3.5, more than the field goal here at the Giants. But dig a little deeper, and Cowboys fans and Giants fans know that Dak Prescott's won 10 straight against the Giants.
He's had their number, and for whatever reason, I looked at this and I said, I'm feeling like we're not talking about the Giants enough. I know they maybe overachieved in Brian Daboll's first year in getting to the playoffs, but that's also a team we're not hearing much about. And they got Daniel Jones back. They have Saquon back. They've been able to solidify some things defensively, but where they're in a much better spot. This one, I think, is going to be razor close to divisional opponents to score off week 1. I'll take the 3.5 points here in the home underdog. I've kind of been a home team guy so far with our picks, and I'm going to stick with that at least for week 1.
I'm going to ride with the Cowboys here and Dak Prescott. I'm going to go with the streak. I think he continues it. I just think that the Giants overachieved last year. Let's be real. And they've improved. Don't get me wrong. They've improved. But Dallas is much improved as well. I mean, just from a health standpoint, they're much improved. I think playing Parsons as a rush guy is a smart move, and I think that's going to make him a big contender for Defensive Player of the Year. In fact, I think he will win Defensive Player of the Year. So I take the Cowboys here. I'll lay the points. I usually don't like laying the points on a Sunday night on the road. I'm with you, but I'm going to do it anyways. It looks a little fishy.
It's a little fishy.
Little fishy.
Little fishy, Pete.
And you
that hook may get you, buddy.
You took the bait. It's fishy the other way.
That's fine with me, but you got to take the hook. So we'll see how that goes.
Might be Brady getting hooked there. Let's go to Monday Night Football now. Bills, Jets. Buffalo, a favorite on the road as Aaron Rodgers makes his debut with the Jets.
Again, you kind of heard my strategy here. Home underdog, now the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. I know there's a lot of hype, and I get that. And there's some concern about what the Jets are able to actually do on the field versus what we're seeing on Hard Knocks and in the press and everything else. The reality is this is a really good football team when they've got football play from the quarterback position that's not going to put them in a bad spot. Defensively, it's one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL. They've got one of the best cornerbacks, really the secondary in general. I think can hold down this Bills passing attack. And look, I know they've got questions on their offensive line, but you also have Rodgers out there. And I think he can spit the ball out fast enough for some of the young, talented receivers to catch the football. My big concern is, do they have any balance? Can they run the football? And here's the thing. I always feel like that about the Buffalo Bills, too. Can they run the football? Do they want to run the football? So I'll take the 2.5 points here and the Jets at home as a home underdog.
I'm going to go with Buffalo. And I think Buffalo's the team that everybody's sleeping on this year. And I know the Rodgers hype and the Miami hype and everything else in that division. Buffalo's a better team than they were a year ago. They will be. And I think Sean McDermott taking over the defense makes them a better team. I think they're going to be much more aggressive on that side of the ball, which will help them. Once they get Von Miller back, they're really going to be better on the defensive side of the ball. And offensively, I think they've improved their offensive line. I think that's something they had to do. You talk about running the football. They've had problems running the football because the offensive line's been an issue. I think they got to be more committed to it. They will be. Take the pressure off Allen. Allen will still have a big day. I'll take Buffalo.
Speaking of pressure, who would you say has more pressure? Josh Allen, all those turnovers, now some doubters in Buffalo. Not that they're not a good team, but they're not a Super Bowl team.
Who's doubting them?
Or Aaron, you just said it. That we're overlooking the Buffalo Bills.
Nobody's doubting them. They're just hyping up
doubting
the Jets
that
to the
they
point.
are a championship team, that they can get over the hump against a Kansas City, against a Cincinnati. Who has more pressure, Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets?
It's a tough question to answer because for Rodgers, it'd be one thing if it was a one-and-done year. He's already basically stated that's not going to be the case. He'll be there at least 2, maybe 3, and who knows after that, depending on the experience. So I don't know that he feels a ton of pressure. Maybe as the season wears on, if they continue to win and it starts to build a little bit, then you start to feel that. But I kind of feel like it's more on the onus of the Buffalo Bills. And is that window open or is it closing? And how much longer of a run do they have with this roster? Because to your point, they're one of the best football teams in the AFC, and the entire NFL for that matter. But eventually they're going to start losing some of those pieces. Guys have to be paid. I'm not sure what to make of the Stephon Diggs stuff from time to time. If he's happy, if he's unhappy, you kind of see conflicting stuff, and only he really knows and the people on the inside know. So That's my only question. It's more of, is their window closing there in Buffalo? Like, have we seen them hit their peak, or are they just getting started?
As long as you have Josh Allen playing quarterback,
you got a chance.
The window's
no doubt.
not closing. The window won't close. A great quarterback keeps the window open. You just have to be good to supplement what's around, because you're right, they're going to start losing pieces. I think there's more pressure on Rodgers. And the reason there's more pressure on Rodgers is the whole drama of the way it played out. And now he's free, and he's friends with all the players, and he's going to plays, and he's seeing Michael Jackson plays with the team, and it's just great.
What? He's what?
You didn't see on Hard Knocks, he went to see they have a Michael Jackson play on Broadway, and the whole team went. And I'm like, where was he with the young Packer wide receivers a year ago? He didn't spend time with those guys. And believe me, when I was in Green Bay, they made a point of that.
They also didn't have a Michael Jackson play in Green Bay.
But you know the point. He wasn't around the facility, and now he's rejuvenated. The pressure's on him. He's got to make that team a legitimate Super Bowl contender. If they don't get in the postseason, that's a major fail on the part of the New York Jets. And you know what? There will be changes there.
All right, so Pete has the Bills covering that, obviously winning 2.5. Brady has the Jets covering. Jets winning outright?
I'll go ahead and say they're winning outright, because when I did my season predictions, I had them splitting the Bills and Jets.
So Aaron Rodgers is going to be moonwalking on Monday Night Football. Let's get best bets for Week 1. Pete, man, let's go to Chicago, okay? Aaron Rodgers is finally gone from Green Bay.
And look at you.
Okay? He's finally gone. Bears fans are thinking, okay, this is it. We're on an upward trajectory. We got a quarterback now. They are laying 1 at home. And you have, not only you have Green Bay winning this game, but you think they're going to win this division, too.
I do. And by the way, Chris, I know you're a Bears fan. Think about next year. Because next year's the year for the Bears. And I think they're going to be really
I'd say
good
if Jordan Love goes into Chicago, beats the Bears, people are going to think next year's never coming.
No, next year is coming even when Jordan Love does go in and beat the Bears. Because I think Jordan Love is better than people give him credit for. And this team has talent across the board. They're loaded at the offensive line. When Bakhtiari's healthy, Jenkins is healthy, they're playing on the left side. The line is talented across the board. Watson and Dobbs will put up big numbers. They can run the ball with those backs to take the pressure off of Jordan Love. And then defensively, they're going to be really good. Just because Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker, we talked about it before the show, Brady, from year 1 to year 2, guys take the next step. Packers win this game, and outright, you don't need the point.
Poor Bears fans.
I know.
Pete just
next year.
It's not going to be pretty in Chicago.
Next year.
You're going to keep saying next year. That's what you do. Next year.
No, next year.
Next year.
All right, what's your best bet for the week?
I've got the Seattle Seahawks laying 5 versus the LA Rams. I don't have a real optimistic look for the LA Rams this season. It's tough, and you've heard obviously some various sources. Matt Stafford's having a hard time connecting with some of the guys he's throwing to.
Coming out
Cooper Kupp, obviously a bit banged up as well. That plays a role when one of your best players is going to be healthy for this one. And I'm a believer in the roster that Pete Carroll and John Schneider have built there in Seattle. I think if Geno can replicate what he did last year, there's no doubt this team will be in the hunt for a playoff spot. I'm not saying they'll win the NFC West, but if he could get anywhere close to these numbers again, this team's going to be right there in the mix. And so I think they can cover the 5 at home relatively
Can
easily.
he get close to those numbers again?
Yeah, I think so. Why not? I mean,
let's see it. That's the big question.
The addition of Jackson Smith and Jigba to go along with Lockett and DK Metcalf, I mean,
well, let's see it, though.
My God. They just got to want to throw the football that much.
Here, a little advice from Matt Stafford. Call Aaron Rodgers. He's found the way to the hearts of all the young players.
Why do you have to make it like that?
I mean,
Stafford went through, got a Super Bowl. They're going through the growing pains. They're going through the growing pains.
Stafford already did what Rodgers is trying to do. Go to a new team late in your career, win a Super Bowl.
But now he's got to connect with young players again. It's hard to do. I connect with all you young guys.
No, you do.
Yeah, you do.
You do, Pete. I'll give you the credit, even though Brady won't. That's Pete Prisco and Brady Quinn. Week 1 picks here on HQ. Pick 6 podcast. Tuesday's episode, Pete was in with his power rankings. Brinson, Breach, Wilson, pick those apart with Pete. And Wednesday's episode, brand new one today, Brady Quinn picking NFL futures.